Yins guys, thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. Today's August 14th, another rough week. And, well, this intro thing is starting to sound like a pop song. Same thing over and over again. But we spend more time talking about how we're going to have enough to talk about than we actually do recording this thing. Anyway, we've got some prospect stuff this week, and we'll have another reason to hate those oven mitts. Let's go Bucks. My name is Josh, and I'm joined, as always, by my brother Jake. What's up, Jake?
How we doing, man?
We're doing all right.
We're doing.
Yeah. Dude, this is getting old.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, it's rough. It's definitely rough.
1-6 this week. So, sorry, I just turned my volume up and it turned way up. That was crazy. Anyway, 1-6 this week. About got a 4-game sweep in Arizona.
Yeah.
Never good. Yeah. You're going up. I mean, you're playing the Diamondbacks, guys. Anybody let you know that?
Right. That's not acceptable. Not okay. At least got to get 2 of those.
Yeah, on the road. I'm okay with 2. And really, there was a game. I feel like there was a game we should have had.
Yeah.
And we didn't.
Just can't come through with the hit.
Yeah, what was the dude's name? Like second career start? Kelly? Yeah, Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Henry. Kelly, a little bit of a different story. He's having a good year.
Well, actually, is Kelly the one we beat? No, that was Bumgarner.
Yeah, we beat Bumgarner.
Bumgarner's the one we beat.
Yeah, Kelly's having a good year.
Yeah.
But interesting because he was a late guy to the majors and whatever. But he's under 3. Was that his 10th win? Yeah, he didn't get a win in that game. So we scored 3 in 5 innings off of him. And then Brubaker. Oh, this was the Chase DeYoung. Yeah. Chase? Am I saying that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Who's the other one? Oh, Paul. Okay. This is already great. We're doing about as good as the Pirates right now.
We're doing with what we got to work with.
It is true. De Los Santos got blown up in that game too, and it just really got away from us. Just couldn't find the strike zone. Then he ends up going on the shelf injured. After that, with a lat strain. Wait a minute, I got to read this. I got to find it here. I have it in my notes. He's on the 60-day injured list with right shoulder latissimus dorsi strain. It just sounded like, dude, he has a lat strain. That gotta be so. Okay. You read the transactions page, you didn't realize you had to go to med school to find out what the heck's wrong with De Los Santos.
Yeah.
Latissimus maximus doris. What?
Is this the Gladiator?
Is this Gladiator? Are you not entertained? But anyway, 4-game set. What was the other? Why am I missing one of these games? Oh, I'm not. The first game. Zach Gallen's a beast. Yeah. It's the Henry game, second start, and his other 2 starts were, I'm trying to think, because he started 1 game after that, and I think Colorado beat him, scored 3 or 4 runs off of him. We got 1 run in 7 innings. I don't think he's gone through 5 in his other 2 starts. I forget who his first game was against. But he got blown up. Not blown up. I'm going to have to pull it up now. I just felt like Tommy Henry faced Cleveland. So, 5 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks. He still walks 2 against us, but 4 hits, 1 run. This is the tail of the tape. 5 hits, 3 runs, and 3 walks in 5 1/3 against Colorado. So, like, the thing is that he walks and people score. Except the Pirates, who can't hit with runners in scoring position. Right?
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. Runners in scoring position mean nothing right now. Until today, then we blew it. Matter of fact, we just, just to kind of cover that, we were talking here before, talking about, what we were going to cover our time with today. And Jake's like, no, we won 2 games this week. I said, no, 1 game. He's like, we just won today. And I was like, you turned it off just a little bit too early. We blew it. And you kind of see that as like, oh, we'll send Will Crow out for another inning. And it's one of those deals where we've talked about this at so much length.
Yeah.
How many times? But Will Crow's one of those guys that we can do that with.
Yeah.
Is it different when it's the 8th and the 9th? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But at the same time, who else are you going to send out there?
Right.
So it's one of those things where you had Will Crow out there. You'd already sent Holderman out, which, by the way, I'm okay with that. That's still been good. He did give up a run. He gave up 2 hits and a run in his inning. And he went back out for a second inning. Maybe he gave up the run in his second inning. And then they got him out of there. And then Stout came in, or maybe he gave up the base runners. That's what it was. And then Stout came in and gave up the run. But it was Holderman's run.
Yeah. I'm just still... There's just a lot of pitching changes or non-pitching changes that I just don't understand.
And a lot of that, especially today, is set up by Thompson. 40 pitches in the second inning, and I'm looking at it going, 4 runs in the second inning. He's up over 40 pitches, and he going long. We let him throw 90 pitches. He went 4 innings.
I'm trying to think of who it was. It was a reliever. I want to say it was Underwood, but I could be wrong. And like I said, it's a really good example, but I have poor detail right now. But dude gets base runners on. We're first and third with nobody out. He gets a ground ball, double play, run scores. So there's nobody on and 2 outs. And Shelton makes a pitching change. Why? Just if he gets another runner on, that's fine. But at that point, it was just like...
When was this? You don't remember?
No.
Do you know who he went to?
I've been watching such... I think it was the day game. So it was
with
Thursday.
Arizona, yeah. So the Keller game? Oh no, Thursday. Thursday, that was the one we got. Yeah. It was the last game against them. Yep, it was the Thursday game. So you had Brubaker, that was DeYoung, De Los Santos, and Underwood. So Underwood may have been the one that came in for De Los Santos. But De Los Santos didn't record an out, so certainly you weren't questioning that one.
It wasn't that one.
So maybe Chase DeYoung, who also gave up 3 runs in an inning and a third. Brubaker, 5 innings, 2 runs, 92 pitches. So that would make sense why he came out. So maybe it wasn't the day game.
Maybe not.
Because those all seem like they make perfect sense. Well, they scored 9 runs and we only had 4 pitchers. And then you have other games where, what was it? Today we threw, well, of course, there was a lot of runs today too. I thought there was another game where it was like we went through a lot of pitchers and gave up less runs, but maybe not. Dude, I don't know. I mean, there's pitchers out there. They're not throwing.
Yeah.
A lot like, who was it earlier? It was De Los Santos when he first got called up. We just couldn't figure out what was going on. He was on the team, but he was never throwing. But what is it? Johan Ramirez, I think we saw him once this week for an inning. Is that right? He threw an inning on Tuesday. Oh, no, he threw an inning on Monday. Gave up 2 runs. An inning right after that on Tuesday. And then we didn't see him again. Probably not a guy I would want to go to in a day like today. So it's probably not worth it. Or maybe you would have. Manny Benuelos comes in the 5th inning and gives us the 5th inning, which, by the way, once again, I'll say it again, he's been fine. Take his first outing away when he gave up 6,000 runs against his former team that I think he was still rooting for, and he's been fine. But then after that, we went to Holderman in the 6th. Maybe that was the spot. Maybe Johan Ramirez goes in then. And then you wouldn't have to rely on the back end of, Will Crow coming in the 8th is fine too, but then now you need somebody for the 9th. We were still tied at the point when he threw the bottom of the 8th. We got the lead. And then we just leave Will. But maybe that was the plan the whole time. Hey, Will Crow, you're throwing the 8th and the 9th. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with them leaving him in right there. We talked about that. It was a first pitch fastball, 95 at the bottom of the zone, inner half. It's like that's the pitch that Estrada was waiting for. Hit it out. I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a terrible pitch.
I mean, you want him to start off with a strike. It was as far as the bottom of the zone that you could get. It was touching the line if you're looking at the pitch box.
Right.
So it's one of those things. You take away the start from Zach Thompson, we win today. You finally get some. What were we with runners in scoring positions? 3 for 12, so still not good. But Brian Reynolds is cashing it in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He gets a double, and then he gets the 3-run homer with runners in scoring position. Does it actually break that down? I think it does. I thought it did. I'll say it that way. But it doesn't look like it does. I thought there was a team run. Oh, runners left in scoring position, it tells you. But it doesn't tell you who actually did well with runners in scoring position. And then it just gives you the team. But Reynolds 3 for 5 RBIs. He did leave 3 people on base, but 17 runners left on base, which is misleading. Team left on base was 8. That's why I say it's misleading. 17 when you look at each player, because the same 3 players were left on base by somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how it works. 16 for them, and they left 9 on base. But anyway, really thought we had this one today.
Yeah, really did. We're missing Bednar, man.
Oh, there's no doubt. And really yesterday, you feel like that was a winnable game as far as you saying, like, Beatty starts, goes 3 innings. He gave up 2 runs in 3 innings. That's, not ideal, but then the bullpen took care of it. Stout an inning and 2/3 with just a hit, a couple walks, so there was base runners. Got him out of the way. Underwood comes in. And then, he's clean. 3 Ks in an inning and a third. DeYoung gives you 2 innings, 3 strikeouts, nothing, completely clean. But I mean, not trying to say that we should crush Logan Webb.
Right.
He was very good. But
I just feel like
you gotta do something.
We gotta try to do something to manufacture some runs here. We were talking a little bit earlier. Like I feel like Greg Allen can make some things happen, but you gotta get on base somehow.
Yeah,
he's fast. He can wreak havoc on the bases, but you gotta get on before you can.
Go ahead.
Before you can do anything, wreak havoc, you gotta get on.
Yeah, I was convinced Greg Allen was never going to play for the Pirates after the injury. You know what I mean? I was convinced, but here we are, and I thought that with the fact that he was given a chance, maybe it would be a little better.
I was hoping it would be, and I'm still hoping that he can do something because I like his athleticism. I like what he can bring to the table. People are full potential. I mean, almost every one of these guys have potential.
If you didn't have potential, you're not playing at this level.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. It's just whether or not it's going to actually click.
Unless you have fake potential. There are people that have played for the Pirates in the last couple of years who I'm questioning where that potential is.
Yeah. I don't know. Greg Allen kind of reminds me a little bit of Tyke Redmond.
He pulls this thing out. He pulls out Tyke Redmond. What in the world?
He's just not that good, but you just kind of want to root for him because he just looks good.
I mean, I thought maybe you could have said Lastings Millage.
No.
A guy with
anything like Lastings Millage.
Loaded with potential. Maybe Greg Allen doesn't have that type of potential, but
I'm just mean as a baseball player in general. He just
okay.
They both just they look like they can be good. And they're just not gonna get it done.
Anthony Alford?
Anthony Alford's another one. I mean, more recent.
So yeah, I'm thinking of maybe along the lines of like physically they look the part.
Yeah.
And they have tools, but they can't use them.
Yeah. It's like, I got this Sawzall, but how does it work?
And that's why I say Lastings Millage. He was supposed to be the next best thing and never happened. And Anthony Alford was a first-round pick, and he was supposed to be great, and he wasn't or hasn't been. And, I don't know if Greg Allen was a first-round pick or anything. And so maybe I feel like he was. I feel like that's all Sherrington gets is form. Nope, he was a round 6 pick from Cleveland. But either way, physically, he's, you know what I mean? So I don't know.
I just look at him and I see baseball player and it just it's not translating.
No, hitting is harder than just being, than looking the part. And
right.
That shows. Yeah, I mean he's an athlete, and it's the same thing as Anthony Alford. I mean, it's not the same thing as Anthony Alford though, because Anthony Alford couldn't even touch the ball. Yeah. It was just swing and miss, strike out all the time for us. But yeah, Greg Allen is part of this, but he's to me he's less so. I mean, we've talked at length about Yoshi, who's now gone. We've talked about Van Meter, who's still hanging around, who somehow pinch hit today in a spot where I was like, Jason DeLay's 2 for 2, and you're pinch hitting with Van Meter right now. Was there something there? Did I miss something? we're still running around at this house. We're still running around with like chickens with their heads cut off. Katie and the family was out of town, so they just get back in town today. So I mean, there's still a lot going on. I don't get a whole lot of time. Like I spent a couple days at the old house with no internet, no TVs, no nothing, turning electricity off so I can switch out light switches, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there are pieces of games that I'm missing. There are things that I'm missing from just sitting and watching them. So I don't know why he hit.
I have no idea.
I mean, I feel like Van Meter should be showing up in games when there's injuries or I need a day off or the pinch hitting. I don't see why you're pinch hitting for somebody who's 2 for 2 today. I don't care who they are.
Yeah.
And a right-handed batter at that. So it's not like he's pinch hitting for Bly Madris and they just brought in a lefty.
Right.
He is a lefty, so that wouldn't make any sense. But still, that's the thing I didn't get. But maybe there's something to it. I
don't know what there could be to it. I really don't.
No, he doesn't need to be wearing the uniform. I don't
understand how he's even still on our team.
No, that's exactly it. And we're going to be frustrated about it until he's gone. Mm-hmm. And but the thing is at this point in this season. So we talked about this at the beginning of the year. Let's just go ahead and I see where I'm at in time. You know what? We will save it for another day. Because of that. Because I see where we're at in time. We've got one more thing before the break. And it goes right along with a lot of this stuff. Tuesday, we optioned Cal Mitchell, which was another one of the whole thing. There was a lot of lefties coming up. They said they didn't see a lot of playing time for him. Let's get him more playing time. They brought up Rodolfo Castro. Intentionally brought up Rodolfo Castro to play games on a week where we needed him to play games. And he comes up and has the situation on, I think, the very day he was called up.
Yeah.
Where he slides into third and his cell phone comes flying out of his pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute I guess for Pirate fans, it's a little chaotic because there's all kinds of things that you could think, right? Certainly not cheating, which is the number one concern here.
Yeah.
I mean, the Pirates of all teams, if we're cheating, boy,
we're not doing a good job.
We're even bad at cheating. But either way, this is the situation, and this is what the concern is. If this was the Houston Astros, then people other than Pirate fans would have heard about this 15 minutes after it happened. Maybe earlier than that. But obviously this hit the news the next day. People start finding out about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Pirate fans.
Night.
Was it that? I mean, I didn't even really see very much. I didn't see a whole lot.
Text messages and phone calls from people I worked with. Did you see that guy?
Yeah.
But some of them don't even really watch baseball.
Okay. Because that's what I was wondering. Because, I mean, obviously you're around a lot of Pirate fans, people paying attention to the Pirates. I haven't heard anything from anyone. And, I live around a bunch of Cleveland and Cincinnati fans. I haven't heard anything from anyone. I said something to somebody at one point and they had no idea.
Yeah.
And I think maybe I said something to a friend of mine who's like a big baseball fan. And he was like, yeah, I saw that. What was that? He was like, what happened? And I was like, well, because there's no way, right? We haven't said anything that's been said, but there's no way that anybody listening to our podcast doesn't already know the situation.
Right.
So I don't have to really preface a whole lot. But by the time I had talked to somebody, we'd already found out what happened. And so I was able to say, well, here's what happened. So his reaction to the situation was entirely different than anyone who has speculation. If you speculate first, this is a much different situation than if you hear at least what the story was. Okay, so let's get into it a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to play hypothetical, and the reason is because we have what we know to be what happened.
Yeah.
We have no other anything, right? We've got nothing else. We've got no video of him playing games on his phone. We've got no video of him texting people. We've got no video of him Snapchatting or tweeting in between innings and not paying attention to the game. I'm trying to think of all the negative things about having a phone, right? We have no proof of somebody telling him what pitch is coming. What we actually do know is if he's got it in the same pocket as his oven mitt, if they're texting him, he's not going to feel it. He's not going to feel a vibration through that oven mitt. Those things are meant to not injure your fingers. You're not going to feel a phone vibration through it.
I mean, granted, I'm sure the phone was on the inside of the. I don't think it would have been on the outside of it.
That's fair.
I'm sure it would have been on top of his phone
because you would have seen it. Somebody would have seen it beforehand and said, "Hey, your phone's in your pocket." Oh crap! Right?
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have. At least it wouldn't have been on the outside. I wonder if the oven mitt went like if you're watching on YouTube went like this, because if it was like if this is you're wearing your pants like this and the oven mitt went like this. If it went like this, you would have seen the phone still visible. Like this is the outside.
Yeah.
If it went like this, I feel like he would have known. I feel like you would have felt it more when you sat down.
Yeah.
But if the oven mitt actually went over top of it, is the only way.
I'm surprised he didn't pull it out of his pocket when he pulled his oven mitt out.
Yeah. Like how did it not happen then? Which it still wouldn't have happened till he got to first base.
Right.
So no matter what, it would have been equally as embarrassing.
Yeah.
If it would have, because he's one of those players who he sits on the bench and he still has it in his pocket. So like he never takes the mitt out of his. Let's chalk up another reason why I don't like these oven mitts.
Yeah.
So this is a weird situation. In hindsight, this is what makes it hard. You said this. He was like, are we going to talk about this? Because it was Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I said, well, it's this week. So, we have this thing. We can talk about it. For me, and it's different for you, and I want you to, because a lot of people are going to kind of feel the same way you do. For me, hindsight makes this feel less important. The way I see this is a traffic ticket, parking ticket or a speeding ticket, something like that. It's kind of one of those like, yeah, it's not a big deal, but you're probably going to get a fine, and you should, because you still broke the rule. So you will still have a consequence, but like, I'm not concerned for your mental state. Like, I'm not wondering why you did it, because you didn't do it intentionally. Unless he did, and then they're dealing with it internally, and then that's fine too. It's none of my business. So long as they're not cheating, it's none of my business. If it's just like, hey, I was tweeting, well, that's an internal problem, right? That's not an external problem for me. But if he's out there, like, if this is obviously a problem with on-field things, then it's a different story.
Yeah.
So anyway. That's kind of where I am in hindsight. But obviously when it happened, for me, it's what kind of distraction is this for you? Why are you on your phone during a game? We know now he wasn't on his phone during a game.
Right.
So those sort of things, once they're gone for me, I'm over it. But you're a little different. You're a little harder on him here.
I'm a little harder on him, but I'm also on the same page. Like I agree, get over it. And it doesn't need to be a big distraction. It doesn't need to be a huge deal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I want to see I want to actually see him get reprimanded. Like it's not okay whether it was intentional or not.
Right. And he knows it's
He,
not okay. He already
right,
knows
and
that.
he knows that. But at the same time, it's just, hey, you're not playing tomorrow, and then I'm over it, and you're over it, and we move on. To me, that's where it's at, and I'm quick to get over it. I'm quick to forget about it. But you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose a game. Like you're not playing.
Yeah, I
You're
think
not
this
available. You're just not playing. And then when Josh Van Meter's getting your at bats, that's when you can sit back and say, "Dang, I really need to make sure that cell phone isn't in my back. But I need to make an actual conscious. Let's not let this happen again."
sure. And I think that he will. I think that it will be something he will check now because of this, because of the way this happened. Period. I think that he will make
Yeah,
sure of it.
and a lot of it's because it's so public. But I don't know. I guess as I was. It's just the way I've always seen it. I mean, I played low level college ball, and I knew not to have my phone in the dugout. And if I did, it was on silent in my bag where my coach knew or had no clue. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not looking at it. I'm not getting it out. It's on silent. Like, you know that from day one on any level.
Yeah,
Just not okay to have.
completely foreign to me. I didn't have a cell phone when I played ball. We didn't do that. Like we didn't have cell phones.
Right.
When I was in high school baseball, there was no text messaging. There was no Twitter, there was no internet. It was
Right.
snake and phone calls.
Snake and phone calls.
Right. And then, so even college, it was you left your phone behind all the time. Like it wasn't strapped to you the way that it is now. There was no information really on there very much. There was texting at that point. We were getting into texting at that point, but it was still, it's completely foreign to me, those types of things. However, and this is the only thing that, because I know a lot of people feel that same way. And these guys, telling them they can't play tomorrow, that doesn't matter. You got to take money. You got to tell them, not only are you not available, but I'm sending you down for that day. Or something that takes money out of their pocket, to me, is going to make more of a statement than you're not playing today.
I mean,
you mean I get
fine.
you mean I get a paid vacation day today? That's what you just did. You gave him a paid vacation day.
No, because this is a team game, and you were called up. You've already been sent down once this year for lack of effort.
Right.
You were in the show, and you decided not to run or hustle,
Yep.
and you got sent down.
That's a good point.
And now
too.
on day one, you're gonna have your cell phone in your back pocket.
I think when you find out what the truth is, though, it changes.
I get what the truth is, and I
dude, if he had his phone and was using it, he's right. He's in Indy on Wednesday, guaranteed.
oh yeah,
If he knew that phone was there, he's in Indianapolis on Wednesday. There's no question. This to me is completely different.
And that saved him from that harsh of a deal, of a punishment.
Yeah,
I'm
I
with
think
you on it's not a huge deal.
Yeah,
But it's also just, oh, you left your phone in your back pocket. Well, you're gonna start second base tomorrow. Like, what?
It's not. I think the two things are not related.
They're
That's
not,
where I'm at.
but
I think the two things are not one and the same. I think he will get his punishment, and
I think
we may never know about it.
well, we should.
I don't think we need
should
to
know about it.
I don't think we need to. I think this is if it's the Pirates thing, if it's a Pirates thing, I think this is an internal issue.
I think the fans deserve to know that the players are being held accountable.
But held accountable for what? He didn't do anything on purpose.
It doesn't matter. A mistake is a mistake.
They've already said.
I mean, if you're going to get a speeding ticket and you don't realize you're going over the speed limit, but you still get a ticket,
I don't have to tell you about it.
We're not in the public eye.
Yeah, but when people break the law, if there's
and it's in the paper. I mean,
not a speeding ticket.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff.
Well, not
a speeding ticket.
No.
And it might actually.
No, I don't think so. There is no paper anymore anyway.
There is.
Where do you
online?
Yeah, where do you look online to find out who got a speeding ticket yesterday or a parking ticket?
Right. I have no idea because I don't care.
Because I don't think it's out
public
there.
Figures.
You got to be arrested or something.
But I mean, you're just, I don't know. You're in front of the public. There's fans. There's people are paying attention to you.
Yeah, for me, I'd rather see him play than Van Meter. Period.
Absolutely. And
I don't care. Outside of knowing this situation, I want him on the field, not Van Meter.
Knowing the situation, I'm like, dang, I really wish he wouldn't have had his phone in his pocket and he could be playing. Not Van Meter.
He wishes he didn't have it in there too. It's a different thing. I think the lesson. I think the lesson's already learned. I think there was no ill intent here.
No.
And I think this wasn't like a distraction, as far as like he was distracted, and this is part of the whole thing.
I guess I don't fear. I'm not like afraid of it, but my thought process is, somebody outside looking in says, geez, the Pirates are so bad. They got guys having cell phones and they're not even doing anything about it. Like they don't even care. No, like he didn't start the next day. Oh, okay. So you did do something. That's good. At least you did that.
Yeah. I don't care what other people think.
I see both sides. I really
Perception is not reality. It's perception. There's a lot of things that people say about the Pirates that are outsiders that have no idea what they're talking about.
Sure, absolutely.
I don't need fans from other teams coming and telling me that the Pirates are doing things right or wrong, because they don't have any idea what they're talking about.
Right, but they're going.
No, they do.
They do.
So what's the difference? You have to.
Right.
It just doesn't matter. We're getting them right all over the place, and you're not going to get credit for them. So, and we're getting them wrong all over the place too. I'm not saying that, but
yeah,
they have no clue what they're talking about.
I don't want to sound like a jerk. I don't want to say I don't understand, because I do understand your thought process. In a way, it makes sense, but I also just could have benched him one game and then get over it.
Yeah, I just think that in Major League Baseball, money's more important than benching somebody. I think he's fined. I think there's money involved here for sure.
I think that if it's somebody as deep as the Yankees, a benching means nothing. But
no, I mean it means nothing to a player
playing in front of me. Dang it,
Josh Van Meter's going to play in front of you. Get used to it. He's been playing in front of Rodolfo Castro all year.
Yeah,
it's no different. Except now you get to get paid while he's playing in front of you, instead of getting AAA money. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you right now, man. A day off in the big leagues.
You're getting fined, and that comes off your pay.
Yeah, but the bench, unless you tell me I'm not getting paid for today, it's a paid vacation day.
I don't think athletes look at it like that, like you would in your regular jobs.
I think if it's a guy that you're worried about, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're not worried about him, then there's no reason to do this. If you're worried about him, like you said, this is a guy with a lack of effort.
Like, I don't know why his phone was ever in his back pocket. Like, you're hitting in the cages, you're doing all that stuff, you're probably in your shorts.
No.
And if you're ever outside of the locker room, your phone shouldn't be in your pocket.
Well, that would
You're
be
at work.
something. Yeah, that would be something that's different for me. I think that they all do. I think that they're allowed to have their phones before the game out on the field.
I don't think they should be.
Well, that's okay. Well, then,
and that's
that's
where
different.
I'm
That's
at with this.
if that's a policy, then you're right. I don't think that is. I think they have their phones out there all the time. But that's not. I have no idea. So I'm not saying one way or another there. But I just think that I think it's petty. But that's all.
Petty? I mean, that's a big word. That's a strong word.
That's like the opposite of strong.
It's a strong word to use in this
Like,
situation.
It's like
petty. Just
it's a weak word, if anything, right? It's less so.
It's a strong word for something that's weak.
I guess I'm confused then.
Yeah.
That was fun.
We don't always agree.
No.
We do.
We shouldn't. And we shouldn't. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm just saying, like, a lot of people agree on everything. No, not really.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
We agree a lot.
Yeah. We only have a couple more things here. And so we knew this was, like, timing wise, if you're looking at the time and finding out why we're past 30 minutes and haven't run on our break, probably need to chill out on us a little bit. But we do this a lot. We try to go to 40, 45, do our break, and do a short thing afterwards. So that's what we're doing today. I hope you guys kind of enjoyed that a little bit. Dude, we're brothers, man. We do this more often than you think. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Thanks for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2 Buctober. Audio podcast available on your favorite podcast platform. Video podcast available on YouTube. Follow us on the socials and subscribe to the podcast. If you're on Apple Podcasts, take a couple minutes for a review. We'll be right back. Swearingen Bat Company is Ohio's premier wood bat company, specializing in custom wood bats to meet any need from T-ball to senior league. Check out their website at swearingenbaseball.com. Link is in the show notes. Twitter and Instagram at Swearingen Bats. You can also find them on Facebook. Swearingen Bat Company, that's swearingenbaseball.com. Let them know you heard it here. Second time in our tenure as a podcast that I have not told Jake that we're not pausing at the break and just rolled.
Listen, before we get into anything else, my wife's actually home tonight while we're recording. She's in the other room. And after we just had that nice little spiel there before the break, I looked over and she's got the biggest smile on her face. She knew pretty much everything that was going on right there.
That's fun. So we've got a new Baseball America top 10 list for the prospects. And so we wanted to just touch on that because they just released it this week. And actually, I think I can share it out for those of you looking. I'm just going to read through it real quick. Oh, wait, 2.
No, I was just, that's Andy Rodriguez.
Oh, in the picture. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
Sorry. See, it's all visual. Sorry for that. Top 10 Pirates prospects. Now, this is Baseball America. There's a bunch of different lists, so this is just according to them. A lot of people think that if you're going to pay attention to lists, it should be Baseball America. I tend to not subscribe to that because I don't subscribe to that. Because Baseball America is behind a paywall, so I look at MLB.com. So hate me for it, but I'm not paying for it, okay? But anyway, you do get to see these lists every once in a while. Baseball America has Termarr Johnson, the new draft pick, as our number 1 overall prospect in the organization. Then it goes to Quinn Priester, Leover Peguero, Henry Davis, Mike Burrows, Andy Rodriguez, Nick Gonzalez, Thomas Harrington, another draft pick from this year, Jared Jones, right-handed pitcher, and another pitcher, Carmen Majinski. What's your first thought here?
We had a good draft pick.
Okay. I think that's good.
Second thought would be, where did Henry Davis and Nick Gonzalez? Why are they falling?
So Baseball America weighs a lot into these injuries.
Yeah.
I think it's weird that like Termarr Johnson hasn't played anything. So he's got less games than Henry Davis. So just because he's been hurt, I find that hard to believe, and I think it's kind of goofy. I think my first thought was that back 8, 9, 10 has a lot of pitchers in it.
Yeah.
I guess that surprised me. I think off the top of my head, I'm wondering where Bubba Chandler is. Would have thought he would have made a top 10.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Nick Gonzalez at number 7. Andy Rodriguez above him at number 6. Liover Peguero jumping all of them.
I mean, we got a strong prospect class.
Kind of, you feel that way, but doesn't it kind of feel like there's a lot of people that maybe Baseball America is not believing in right now? I don't know. I'm wondering that.
I mean, there can only be 10 guys in the top 10, though. I mean,
but Carmen Majinski, I don't know. Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Could you take our number 15 prospect and put him in the top 10 in other systems? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, we just got a top 10 from somebody that is number 15 on ours, right? So that makes sense.
So I mean, I
have a hard time with
the prospects.
Yeah,
I have a hard time buying into them a ton because anything can happen.
Yeah.
And the Pirates top 10, it's hard to compare them. Like, there's nothing to compare them to, really. And I don't know. I just top 25. If you go be the top 25, I can look through that, and I don't necessarily care where they're ranked. And I understand that this is a value thing, like where their ceilings are, all that good stuff. But I just don't see enough in a top 10 list.
Okay. So what you're saying is, like when you look at like the overall in MLB, if you make the top 100, you're just top.
Mm-hmm.
Like number 99 is not much different than number 11.
Right. Well, I'd say that in the top like 50, all of MLB.
Okay. So if you're in the 40s, you're close to number 12.
Yeah.
I think you're right, though. It is a value thing. But it really doesn't mean that if you have a number 98 that they're not elite. Like they pretty much are. Top 10. Yeah. So in order to be top, if you were to do the top 10, how would that be? I mean, I'm going to do a little bit of math here. Top 10, 30 MLB teams. If you consider yourself in the top 10 of any organization, which we know that this is not how things work, but you're talking about 300 guys.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously they nail that down to 100. You know what I mean? So it does make it like, okay, well, you know, these are guys that are not in the top 100. I think right now, Johnson, Priester, Peguero, and Davis are the only ones. Is there 4? I think there's only 4 now. Because we do know that Cruz and Contreras are now out of all these lists.
Yeah.
But I feel like Termarr would enter into that. So those two would come out and you would still have Well, Nick Gonzalez was in the top 100. So are you telling me he's fallen clear out, or is Andy Rodriguez came in and Mike Burrows came? Mike Burrows is the one for me that I don't know. I
He
guess
made a
Andy
lot of
Rodriguez too.
strides.
Andy Rodriguez is a tough one for me because why is he playing a bunch of different positions? If he's the top, then shouldn't
Yeah.
he have a position?
Yeah.
Instead, he's being moved because, oh, Henry Davis is a catcher, so you're not playing that. Oh, we've got a bunch of outfielders, so you're not playing that. We're going to try you out at second, too. What you've done is you've created versatility, and you've ranked him up because he's still hitting.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting to me. I'm not disagreeing with it.
No, and
The only reason is because they know more than I do.
Sure, they're seeing a lot more too.
Right.
And I would like to see the top 10 prospects be like the next 10.
Yeah.
Like Termarr Johnson's not going to see the major leagues for a while.
Right. That's the other thing is when does like time of arrival play into this?
Yeah.
Because for me, I would think like let's figure out how to make a list of like the top 10 guys that you might see in the next couple of years. Something like that.
Yeah.
Like who's going to make an impact sooner?
Yeah.
And I understand that there's like, I don't know. You're right. Termarr Johnson's a long ways off. Thomas Harrington. Thomas Harrington was a college arm, so
even if you fast track, it's not fast.
He's not going to fast track, dude. Not in Pittsburgh.
Right.
Why would he? If Nick Gonzalez is truly a year and a half away,
maybe we're going to trade him.
Termarr or Nick Gonzalez? Yeah, I mean, maybe Gonzalez. Either one of them. Sure.
I mean, if you, you can get somebody good for some good prospects. If these guys are going to pass him up, this is why we have so many prospects that are like supposedly really good. We're not going to see all these guys in a Pirates uniform.
Yeah.
Eventually, the hope is we're ready to compete for a division title, a playoff spot, and hey, we need to make a trade. Well, who's expendable? And if you're at this point and Nick Gonzalez isn't in a Pirates uniform yet, and Termarr Johnson's also knocking on the door, maybe Nick Gonzalez is a guy you move.
Yeah. Yeah, assuming Termarr Johnson is listed as a shortstop, but assuming he's making the suggested move to second base.
Yeah. And, we're top 10 prospects also I don't want to get too attached to because I wouldn't mind seeing a top 10 prospect in a deal that gets us a top of the line, even if it's a middle of the rotation starter. Somebody that's going to help us win right now.
If he's the top of the line, he's going to be the top of our rotation.
Well, no, but I mean when we're winning, when we're getting close. That's what I mean.
I'm almost at the point now when I'm looking at these games and looking at how these things are going. I mean, I don't know. We're not going to win until we do that. I'm almost there.
Well, you gotta hope that when we're winning, Quinn Priester's contributing, Contreras is contributing, Mitch Keller continues to improve, and he's contributing.
But you got to see it.
No, absolutely. But that's why I said the hope is
right.
That these guys are contributing, and we are starting to win, but we need to bolster a little bit. To bolster it, you're going to have to get rid of some good players.
So that
and those good players come from the minor leagues.
Right. So those are good. That's a good segue here. You asked me before we recorded, has anybody said why Tyler Beatty is getting starts? Because, I mean, we're understanding that there are guys on our roster, right? If I go to the roster and we look at starters, we have, and we're going to count this. We're going to have another visual here. JT Brubaker. I need to go this way. Mitch Keller, Zach Thompson, Bryce Wilson. Who am I missing?
Starting pitchers?
We're missing Jose Quintana.
Mm-hmm.
And we never did anything about it. That's why Tyler Beede gets starts. But what's our question right now? And you just brought him up, is why I said good segue.
Yeah. Where's Rohanzi? What are we doing here?
Where's Rohanzi Contreras? He's pitching.
Yeah.
He's throwing pitches in a game. Why are they not happening in Pittsburgh?
Josh, I will go as far as to say this one as well. Yep, name escaped me. We just traded for him from the Cardinals in the Quintana deal.
Yeah.
We sent him to AAA saying, hey, we're going to stretch him out as a starter because we think I would rather you stretch him out in the major leagues than give Tyler Beede a start. I would rather see 3 innings from him continuing to throw more pitches as we go than give Tyler Beede a start because no, I don't think Tyler Beede is a huge help in the back end of our bullpen. But I'd rather see him for 1 inning come out and max effort.
Yeah.
Than try to give me 3 innings. I do think he is better than some of our options once we get later into the game.
Yeah, and I know that they've talked about Holderman too, and it's been a thing about him, about whether or not he will try to start. I know there's been a lot of fans saying that too, like, hey, why don't we just start him? He started games, not this year, but he started a lot of games. So why is he not, right? Once you're this far into the season, and this is the catch-22, once you're this far into the season, just finish out the season. We can stretch him out later. We could do the same thing with Oviedo, but they're saying, Oviedo, we want to stretch him out. We want to start that right now. And so
Oviedo started games this year.
Right. And so I don't have an answer to what you're saying. I guess I'm piggybacking off of that to say if they think that he's there has to be something else keeping him down. But Rowanzi's already been here.
Yeah.
We don't really know what's going on. Like, he's pitching in AAA. Just let him pitch here. If these are the only things,
Absolutely.
keeping him is, well, we're trying to take it easy on his innings. That's fine, but that doesn't mean his innings can't be in Pittsburgh.
Right. 100%. I think Rohanzi's your first choice.
Yeah. Well, he has
100%.
to be. He's,
100%.
in my opinion, your best pitcher.
Yeah.
Now that Quintana's gone, it's hands down to me.
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of start you get from Mitch Keller and what kind of start you get from Brubaker every once in a while.
Yeah. And I wasn't trying to combat the Rohanzi deal. I'm just saying you have 2 options. You really have 2 options. Rohanzi being your best one.
The Oviedo thing, I'm interested to. I haven't thought of that. You said that now. I haven't really thought of that. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about him. It looks like he made 1 start in St. Louis, 14 appearances. I wonder what
I
that...
thought he made a couple starts.
It was his first outing. He went 5 innings. Yeah, his first outing, he went 5 innings back in June and then went out of the bullpen 14 or 13 times after that. But still going 2 2 2/3, 2 1/3, 2 1/3. Multi-inning reliever, kind of like, what we've done with several guys. It feels like he almost would fit in perfectly when you think of it that way.
Yeah.
But I don't have minor leagues right here because I just clicked on his name. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a case for that as well. I'm just blown away by how bad this offense has been.
It's
So
atrocious.
while we're doing those updates, let's go ahead and do another real quick one. Sawinski and Diego. If you just look at August, which obviously we're halfway through, Sawinski's hitting about 178. So kind of wanted a better one when you look at Bly Madris hitting under 200. You were kind of hoping to see. I think he's down to like 180 now. But Sawinski 178. I think he's got one home run so far in August. Diego, on the other hand, is hitting over 300 in August. So if that's a little update there, 314 with a 375 on base so far. So a little better results from Diego.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's how we can get Van Meter out of here. Get Diego back up. I don't know. It's just those kind of guys. But, when we talked at the beginning of the year, they're not going to lose 100 games. Why? Well, because eventually they're going to DFA Yoshi. Eventually they're going to DFA Van Meter. Eventually Anthony Alfred's going to be gone. Eventually, you know what I'm saying? And we've seen some of that stuff happen. But when you also say eventually some of these guys are going to come up, O'Neal Cruz is going to come up, he's going to make a difference. Some of these guys are going to make a difference. You're going to get a little more seasoning from, guys like Hayes, and, Reynolds is going to be there, and he hasn't been what you thought. And you know what I mean? Like, there was a lot there that you thought could get cleared up. And those things aren't happening. And those players have been here and they haven't made an impact because there's too many of them. And because they're not surrounded by guys who can help them. How do you feed off guys like Van Meter and Yoshi and even Ben Gamel and Vogelback who've been better? Vogelback's a little bit different. I feel like you actually can feed off of him, but in a lot of different ways, but he's gone too. You know what I mean? And that was one of the guys that we thought would as well. And he's gone. And that's what I'm saying. We see some of these chips fall and we see some of these things happen. But we expected, starting around now, that there would be a little bit of excitement. And instead it's been the opposite.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that's been tough.
I think a little bit of it is the people who are here that we have brought up, or some of them we weren't expecting these guys to be up here playing. I know Madris had a good spring, but we didn't really count on him to be one of the guys coming up and giving us a spark later on.
I mean, I pulled for him to be on the opening day roster.
Right.
I expected him to be a better option.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who it was that. Well, it was probably just Anthony Alford. It was Alford's spot that I wanted him to have. So, yeah. But for me, he was a guy. Yeah, you're right. And Sawinski too surprised us.
Sawinski, yep.
So there is some of that there. But man, I really thought Diego was better for the team. I thought, what's that? You got a look on your face.
Oh, yeah. I was just gonna say I do want to give a little bit of props to Bly, making the transition into first base. I think it was his second game. I think when he was second game at first base, little wide throw, and he made jump up, catch, tag. Like that's not easy. I think he's done fine at first base. Somebody who's not really done that before.
Sure.
I thought the experiment's gone okay.
Yeah. no news on the rest of the front. I mean, there's a lot of injuries right now, and I think that's the thing that has it a little bit looking bleak right now. I mean, that's the Henry Davis and Nick Gonzalez dropping because they're hurt. So I think a lot of that just goes that way. Trying to wrap this up here. Boston Red Sox are in last place in the AL East, and they're coming to Pittsburgh. Monday off, but 3 against the Red Sox and 3 against the Reds. So a red week here for a team who's seeing red right now.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know how to expect anything right now. Literally, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, it makes it hard on us because we're like lost for words almost, and we're trying to do a podcast where we got to talk.
He's just saying words in general.
Yeah.
Words in general are out.
Yeah.
For me too, I kind of feel like I don't want to just dog the whole thing for the sake of dogging the whole thing, because I think it's what a lot of us do.
Yeah.
As Pirate fans, but also just as sport fans. Like, it's just so easy to just be unsatisfied unless you're winning the World Series, which is foolish, but it's so normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us Pirate fans, anybody who's listening to our podcast, we want to be positive about things. We want to take a look at things and see how they are and how we think they're going, and be positive about it. That's the whole idea of being a fan. You're supposed to be positive about things. It's not, if you're dogging them, dude, just root for another team. Like, what are you doing here? Yeah. And I understand that there's a lot more to it than that. And I'm not, being insensitive to that, but it's a hard, July and August is a hard time to be positive. At least when you get to September, you realize we can start looking to next year. What are we going to do in the off season? Those sort of things. Mm-hmm. But it's too early for that. So we just got to get through. We got to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. We're here. We're here for you, folks. We know we're here. We understand. I'm not convinced we're not losing 100. We're still not on pace, but we're close. Yeah. We're on pace for 98 losses right now. I don't know that there's a hot streak in this team.
Pitching, man. Pitching and timely hitting. We just don't.
Even when, we can't do it. We can't do them both on the same day.
No.
We can't. Today we had bad pitching. We had timely hitting.
Yep.
And it ended up falling short. Other games this week, we had good pitching and can't hit anything. I don't know. Not a deep team. And that's what happens to teams who aren't deep.
Yeah.
So that's all I got, man.
Yeah.
I think I had some music to play for today, but who knows? You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those days. It's one of those weeks. We've had back-to-back weeks that I've just been really... That's not true. We swept the Brewers. Remember that?
Yeah. That was great.
Yeah. So it was with, yeah, and before that it was bad.
A ton of losses.
Before that it was bad.
Yeah.
So another week. Now we got the Red Sox and Reds. Let's see if we can come out on the positive side of this thing, man. There's 6 games. If you don't come out of this 3-3, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
So
get on the roller coaster, take the ride, and hope we get a good part of the coaster this week.
That's it, man. Let's go Bucks.
Let's go Bucks.
Thanks for listening to my dad and Uncle Jake on the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2Buctober. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are released. Clear the deck. Cannonball coming. and let's go Bucks!